The Cumbria Way runs for just over 73 miles and stretches from Ulverston in the south of the Lake District to Carlisle. This long-distance walk passes through places such as Coniston, Rosthwaite, Keswick and Caldbeck, giving views of all that is the best in the Lake District. Majestic fells, beautiful lakes, scenic becks, picturesque waterfalls and lovely woodland. Come with me as I walk the Cumbria Way in November. Well, good morning. It's Tuesday, 12th of November, and it's exactly 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just at the start of the Cumbria Way. So I got the train up yesterday, long journey, about 8 hours from the south coast, and stayed in fantastic B&B. I'll put the details on the screen for you in a minute, which was brilliant. So at the Gill, start of the Cumbria Way, and off we go. So just got to the top of Ulverston and the start of many a muddy field, I'm assuming, today. I've got my gaiters on. Started nice and early. It was the old Dalton Gate house that I stayed in, built in 1640. Really nice. I'd booked a single room, but the landlady very kindly upgraded me to a really nice double room because there weren't many people staying. A nice breakfast and went to the Farmer's Inn for a couple of pints last night and a meal. I'm staying in B&Bs, hostels, hotels on this 5-day trip. I'm getting a bit old for camping in November. Quite pleased because it is quite nippy today. Must be 3 or 4 degrees. But luckily the forecast looks fantastic. And the only thing I'm worried about, apart from getting to each place in the light, I've got my head torch just in case. Anything I'm worried about is cows in the field, because I don't like cows. But we'll see how it goes. There are some up ahead, but I'm not quite sure whether I have to walk through their field or not. So, decided to do one more walk before Christmas and pick the Cumbria Way, because it looks like it should be doable really any time of the year, and I'm looking forward to it. Just spent 15 minutes hanging around a field waiting for a herd of cows to cross through to the next field. They very kindly just stopped right by the footpath entrance to the field, and I wasn't going to walk through them. Just been climbing a bit, and great views back to Ulverston. And here, our first view of the fells. Looking very majestic today. Just past Higher Lath. Well, I've just gone through Hollowmire. It's about 9:15. My watch is telling me I've done about 3 miles, but my OS maps are telling me I've still got 13.5 miles to go. Mind you, I started off nice and early, so I'm hoping to get to Coniston by about 4. And even if I take my time, I think the path around Coniston Lake should be quite easy to navigate. Nice scenery so far, mainly sort of arable fields, sheep and cows. Good day for walking. Slightly chilly, but no wind and certainly no rain. And looking forwards, I'll turn round. There we are. You can see the fells of the lakes in the distance, which I'm heading towards, and we'll be walking through tomorrow. Very much looking forward to that. So through the little kissing gate and follow the path down to St John's Church. Just been through Napperthwaite, which is about 2 houses, and about a kilometre away from Gawthwaite. And when we get to Gawthwaite, I think we're actually officially in the Lakes National Park, and I think the going should be a bit quicker. It's been a little bit stop-starty. Lots of muddy fields, lots of stiles and climbing over walls and things like that, which has been fine, but you just sort of get your rhythm and then you have to stop again. But it's only about 10:30, so I'm making pretty good time. Well, I've seen this in other videos, and I don't think anyone has yet seen the bull. Not a very easy to open gate, but there we are. I think I'm going to keep close to the wall just in case. Doesn't seem to be any sign of life, but you never know. And fairly soon, I think we ought to get our first glimpse of Coniston Water, which will be nice. Coming up to Kilbank. I'm going to walk up to Beacon Tarn, which is a couple of kilometres, and then stop there and have some lunch, I think. Lovely scenery. Sun's out now. It's really quite warm and absolutely silent, which is fantastic. And there is Beacon Tarn. Rather boggy underfoot. So just walked around Beacon Tarn. I walked around the west side, slightly higher path, still quite boggy, but nice walk. Just going to stop here for 10 minutes and have some lunch. Just going to ford the stream and then pick up the footpath. Getting relatively close to Coniston Lake now, probably about 1.5 miles away. So making good time. It's about 1:25. Still lovely and warm, walking in a t-shirt now, which is great for mid-November. So Coniston Water here. Just walking down to the landing stage. Just under 3.5 miles to Coniston Village, and we're walking along the side of the water for most of the way, which should be nice. Coniston Water, of course, famous for Donald Campbell's world sea record failed attempt which killed him. Beautifully serene lake on a nice day. It's been a good introduction to the Cumbria Way today. Quite a lot of walking through fields and things like that. But once we got to, well, certainly Beacon Tarn, really felt much more that you were in the lakes. And it's been a bit boggy underfoot, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be. Certainly not as bad as when I did the coast to coast. This is my 4th long distance walk this year. In April I did around the Isle of Wight, which was nice, but lots of detours. And then end of April, early May, I did the coast to coast, which was great. And then in the summer, I did the Norfolk Coast Path, which was wonderful. Really helped by fantastic weather. So I just wanted to squeeze in one more walk before Christmas. Looking forward to tomorrow. Takes me through the lowland lakes, which should be good fun. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of the Cumbria Way. I stayed in the Sun Inn in Coniston last night, which was fine. A little bit cold, but I had heat in my room. Pleasant bedrooms. Wandered down to the Coniston Curry House for a decent curry, and then came back and had a pint and an early night. I was quite tired yesterday. Shorter day today, up to Great Langdale, staying in the bunkhouse there. It's only about 12 miles, so I got up a bit later. They weren't serving breakfast till 8:30 anyway, so it's about 9:30, and just left Coniston. Beautiful day. Absolutely lovely. Just behind me is the Folly, and just going up the path to Tarn House Wood, looking back to Coniston. So day 2 takes me up to Tarn House. I've been there before. I came up to the lakes last December and had weather very similar to this actually. Beautiful sunny days, but very cold, -4 or 5. And I did a lovely walk to Tarn House and round Tarn House. So we go up on the west side of Tarn House, which is man-made, but still rather nice. And then we follow the track all the way up to Skelworth Bridge, and then through Elterwater and Chapel Stile before coming to Great Langdale. Should be a good day, and the forecast is still looking pretty good for the week, which is nice. Fantastic scenery. Bit of a frost, but great walking weather, really good. Just come up through Tarnhouse Woods and met the little road I'm following to Tarnhouse. I'm going to stop there and have a little short break. So here we are at Tarnhouse. Just by the car park there's a little coffee bar, Joey's. So I've got myself a coffee. Been walking for just over an hour. Done about 3 miles, so making really good time. And just going to find somewhere to sit down and have a little bit of rest and enjoy my coffee. Tarnhouse is a man-made lake, but it's still very beautiful nevertheless, and with the sun shining on it, what could be better? I've got my Salomon Ultra 4 GTX, whatever they're called, boots on. These have always worked really well for me, and there's a big but. This is the third pair I've had. First pair I used to do the West Highland Way and Hebridean Way, and they split across the toe box. Second pair I used for Isle of Wight and the coast to coast, and again they split across the toe box. Each time, because they're only a year old, I sent them back to Salomon with pictures and everything, and they gave me credit for new boots. So every year I've had a new pair of Ultra 4 GTXs, and looking at my current ones, which I haven't really done a huge amount of walking, and I've probably only done about 50 miles, I can already see signs that they're going to go the same way. It's such a shame, because they're great boots, pretty waterproof, well, as waterproof as any boot can be. I find them really comfortable. I very, very rarely get blisters in them, but there we are. Just going over the footbridge over the River Brathay, and on our left should be Skelwith Falls waterfall. Can't see it myself, but nice river. Just coming into Elterwater. I've had a very good time today. It's about 10 to 1, and it's only just over 3 miles to Great Langdale Bunkhouse. Now I can't get in there till 4 o'clock, so I'm on the hunt for a little tea shop in Elterwater or Chapel Style where I can stop for a while, have something to eat and read the paper or something. It's been an absolutely beautiful day today. The sun has shone, the sky's been pretty blue, it's still a bit nippy, but it's been a very pleasant, very easy walk. Pretty flat, not very muddy, but some rather nice views. Just past Chapel Style, I popped in, have a quick look round. There's a rather good convenience shop that seems to sell absolutely everything. And just going over the bridge, over the beck, and then following it with the beck on the right hand side. A couple of miles to Great Langdale Bunkhouse and the new Dungeon Gill. I'm saying the bunkhouse because it was only 45 quid for a room. But I think there's no phone reception there, but there is Wi-Fi, so should be pleasant. And there's seems to be a couple of places to eat very close by. And then tomorrow off to Keswick, which I'm looking forward to. I think that should have some of the best scenery on the walk. So let's hope the weather holds.
There are way markers showing the path, but these are often few and far between. If you're thinking of doing the walk, you'll definitely need a map, and an app like the OS app can be very helpful to check that you're not straying off the route. I stayed in the Great Langdale bunkhouse and was the only occupant. The bunkhouse was good value and clean and warm. Just next door is Lanty Slees. The owner has taken over the Stickle barn, and this served good food and great beer.
Well, good morning. It's Thursday the 14th of November. It's about 7:20. I stayed in the Great Langdale bunkhouse last night, which was excellent. I was the only person staying there, so I had it all to myself. I booked a 2-bunk room for 40 something quid. Really good showers there. Just walking from the new Dungeon Gill to the old Dungeon Gill. I think it's forecast to be another nice day. Quite misty, you can see around me. But hopefully the sun will break through. So this is the old Dungeon Gill. And I'm going up around this. Look at that. So we're at the junction now, just been across that wooden footbridge, and there's this cairn, and left the path takes you across the mountain route to Eskhouse, which I'm not going on, and right, you can see where we're going, all the way up here, Stake Pass, which should be fun. So there's where I've come from. It's difficult to see the path from the bottom, but when you're on it, it's quite clearly laid out. Some very kind people into a lot of trouble putting a lot of stones on, and there's the top. It's not too bad a climb. Nearly at the top now. Fantastic it is.
The climb up Black Crags to Langdale Combe and Stake Pass gave me stunning views back down towards Great Langdale and Micheldenbeck. The wonderful weather showed off the Lake District's autumn colours really well.
Well, here we are at the top of Stake Pass. Quite a stiff climb, but nothing too bad. And I wanted to get up here by 9 o'clock and got it up here about 1 minute past. So not bad. Fab views all around. Views down to the valley where I've been. No one around. Beautiful and quiet. And there's the path straight ahead where I'm going. Just in Langdale Combe. Quite a few sheep around. And just coming up to pile of stones on the OS map. Well, this is a pile of stones, and following the track down, which is just here, difficult to see, through Stake Pass and down through past Stake Beck. When I was talking to people in the cafe, I couldn't remember the name of it, and I thought they said it was Snake Pass, which I think is far more fitting, as it twists and turns, and the name gives it a more romantic feel. Sun's just above the fells, and this is Stake Beck. Stone Thwaite Fell on our left, and Brown Crag on our right, and this is the path down to the floor of the valley, and then following the beck all along. Twisty, windy path going down. There's the valley. Well, it's been fairly slow going so far. I've only done 4.5 miles in about 3 hours, but to be fair, that did involve quite a big climb and quite a big descent, and the paths have been quite rocky and stony and slippy, so I'm hoping to make it slightly better time now. I think this is Langstaff Beck to the left of us, and we're heading down to Smithy Island, and then Stonethwaite, and then Rossthwaite. I've seen very few waymarkers since Great Langdale, and there are a few different routes you can take, so it's not a particularly well waymarked path at any of its stages, so you can't just rely on reading the signs. This bit of the Cumbria Way follows the coast-to-coast route. I did the coast-to-coast with my friend Peter end of April, beginning of May this year. It was a good walk. We're going in the opposite direction now, but I do remember this part as being a nice, steady, easy walk past Stonethwaite and into Rossthwaite. So it's nice to retread old ground. So just walking over the bridge into Rossthwaite. I think that might be the River Derwent, but I'm not sure. That's where it's come from. Just past the Flock Inn Cafe, which unfortunately is closed till February 2025. So I don't think I'm going to get a coffee here, but I'll crack on. So we're going across the ford, and then to the left of the river, which will turn into the Derwent, and then up to Keswick. Well, I've just been through Hollows Farm. I was following the Derwent and then through the woods, and making my way up to the Grange. I was a bit worried because my watch was saying that I was only about halfway, and obviously I want to get there before dark, but I checked on my OS maps and I've only got about 5.5 miles to do, so I should get there about 3ish. So I'm going to stop and have something to eat. I've got some sort of trail snacks and some water and things like that, and take the weight off my feet for a moment. And looking at Grange, going down here and heading up to the Borrowdale Hotel, and then cutting across to Derwent Water, and then walking pretty much up Derwent Water and round to Keswick. And our first sight of Derwent Water, with Keswick at the north end. About 3.5 miles to Keswick. I'm staying in the Premier Inn in Keswick. The only reason I'm staying there is it was only, 43 quid? Which I thought was a real bargain. I just walked past a cafe in Portiscale and it lured me in with a coffee and a scone. I had very little in the way of breakfast, just a rubbishy old pot of porridge, and I've only had half a flapjack and some trail mix today, so I very much appreciated that. It was also nice to have a sit down. And I'm about 3/4 of a mile away from Keswick now, and should just be able to see it through the trees there. Nice easy walk into it. And then I'm looking forward to having a bit of a sit down and then go out and have a little wander around Keswick. Nice easy path to take us into Keswick. And here we are in Keswick, famous pencil museum and the bridge. Just behind me is the Premier Inn where I'm staying tonight. Just going to walk down into the centre of Keswick, have a quick look round, and then go back and check in and have a bit of a rest. Good morning. It's Friday the 15th of November, 7:45 in the morning. I left Keswick about 20 minutes ago. Nice little walk through the outskirts of Keswick. Just crossed the busy Keswick bypass. There's a bridge over that. You can probably hear that in the background. It's rained overnight and the forecast is not great for today. I'm not sure which route I'm going to do. I don't really want to do the foul weather route because that adds another 3 miles, but I'll get to Skiddaw House and make a decision what the visibility is like there. So if I can go the normal route, it's about 14.5 miles to Caldbeck. Otherwise it's 17.5. And I'm staying in the Oddfellows Arms in Caldbeck. Just climbing up out of Keswick now with Skiddaw in front. Can't really see it because of the trees. And we're going through the Latrig Woods. Let's have a little look at the sign. It's a fairly stiff climb up here, looking down on Keswick, and just behind us, or to the right, is Malham Dodd. So, walking up this path, been going up for the last 20 minutes or so, and I think we've still got a bit more up to go. I just stopped at Skiddaw car park to put my raincoat on and put my pack cover on. It's not actually raining yet, but it's quite damp in the air. Signs that it could be better in the northeast, but the cloud's quite low. I think it'll be touch and go whether I do actually, hello sheep, whether I do actually do the full path or do the foul weather path. Discretion is the better part of valour, but I'll make the final decision when we get to Skiddaw House. Absolutely beautiful colours. The camera probably doesn't do it justice, but lots of orangey browns, greens. This is Whitbeck. And the path turns up to the right. You can just see where we've come from. Just down here. We're gradually climbing up, skirting round Skiddaw. As you can see, the visibility is not great. Probably 100 metres, something like that, maybe less. Can't really see anything down in the valley. I can just about make out a little track. I think I should probably be taking the foul weather route, which is further to walk, but may well be safer. But I don't need to make that decision until we get to Skiddaw House. So I'll wait and see. Making good time so far. Done about 4.5 miles, and I think it's about 8:45. Well, visibility has improved somewhat. It's still quite damp, but the cloud seems to be lifting a bit, which is good news. Still quite early, I suppose. It's about, I don't know, 9:15, something like that. But I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was half an hour ago. You can see the path wending its way in front of us. Just, where is it? Going up here. And we're going to go all the way up to the top there. Just coming up to Skiddaw House, which I believe is somewhere in that, or just, yeah, I can just see it to the right of that clump of trees. And then it's decision time. Looking back at where I've come from, see the path winding its way into the distance. Right over there. Soft patter of some rain, but it's not raining too bad. See some ruins here, and just behind it, Skiddaw House. Sure what that used to be, but it's certainly not inhabited at the moment. And there is Skiddaw House Hostel. I don't know whether it's open today, it doesn't look very open. Might get a bit closer. So Skiddaw House is open from March to October, so closed at the moment. It's decision time, and I think it's decent enough visibility to attempt the normal route. It's only about 9:30, so if things get difficult, I can always backtrack to here and pick up the foul weather route. But I've had a good look at it, and I think I'll be all right. I think the path is relatively clear. I've got my compass, so we'll see how it goes. But you can see quite a long way in the distance, so I'm not unduly worried. Very muddy here. It's the view back to Skiddaw House, and it's been across the little footbridge and a very boggy bit, and then we're going back up here. So just over to our right we've got the River Caldew, which apparently we're going to be picking up again tomorrow, and takes us into Carlisle. Great Calver up there in the mist, Snab, and we're heading onwards. Visibility is pretty good. Just coming up to a sheepfold here. Must be quite a bleak existence if you're a sheep up here, but I suppose it doesn't worry them. More signs of habitation, another sheepfold, a gate, and a crossing over the river. It's damp and a little bit of rain off and on, but absolutely fine. Top tip for the Cumbria Way: wear gaiters. They've really helped keep my feet warm and dry, and at the end of the day your trousers are not too bad. I have brought a spare pair of trousers with me, which is really nice to change into at the end of the day, but I didn't strictly need to. So gaiters have been a good move. It's quite desolate round here. Haven't seen anyone since I left Keswick. There are a couple of cars in the car park for Skiddaw. No one around Skiddaw House. But I suppose it's hardly surprising. It's a bit of a miserable Friday morning, and it's still quite early. I'm staying at the Oddfellows Arms in Caldbeck, but I don't think there's much else in Caldbeck. So I might have time to get really well acquainted with Caldbeck before I can check in. But, at least not my worries. Walking alongside the beck now, just down there. And I think we're about 3 kilometres from the Gate Hut, and I'll probably stop there. So just crossing the bridge over Grainskill Beck, a little road there, and we're going up left, and there's Grainskill Beck, and it meets up with a Caldew. So just climbed up to Carrick Mine. Mining has taken place at Carrick for over 150 years. Deep underground, miners extracted lead, arsenic and tungsten ores. Overground, the ores were crushed and washed to extract the valuable minerals. This is the only example of a tungsten mine in England outside of Cornwall. Wow. The mine stopped working here in 1981 and most of the surface remains were demolished or flattened. Gosh, a bleak place for a mine. And there's the entrance to the mine. Wow, looks pretty bleak and forbidding, especially on a day like this. And down to the left of it, obviously workings and probably accommodation blocks and things like that. So here we have Arm o' Grain, feeding down into Grainsgill Beck, and we need to be on the other side. Not quite sure where the best place to cross is, but let's find out. And emerging out of the gloom, the Lingay hut. Oh, the last mile and a half has been quite challenging. Winds picked up. The path was very indistinct, running alongside the beck. Lots of scrambling, very muddy, quite slippy. So it was hard going and slow going, but hopefully if this is open, I'm going to go in and sit down and warm up. Let's have a look. So this is what Lingay Hut looks like. A little bit damp in places, but it's rather nice. Certainly it would be a good place to stay. I suppose there's enough room for 4 people at a push to sleep, but it's somewhere nice to be out of the wind. So I'm just going to stay here for 15 minutes and warm up a bit, have something to eat. So I left the bothy about 20 minutes ago, just as a group of 4 people came in. They'd just been up High Pike and said it was fine, and there seems to be a pretty good track. That's High Pike in front of us. Can't really see an awful lot, but there we are. Got about 4 miles to Beck, so I can take it nice and slowly. It's only about 1:15. Check into my accommodation until 5. So let's see how we go. Here I am. See, it's a bit windy, and this is the cairn. A nice seat and a trig point, but apart from that you can't see a thing. So I've just come down from High Pike, 2 and a bit miles to Beck. In the distance, Nether Row. It's raining, but there are some glimpses of blue sky. Not much though. But it's quite nice to be descending out of the wind, going back towards civilization. Let's hope there's somewhere where I can get a coffee at Beck. So just coming into Beck, cute little bridge. And there's the Beck. And rather a nice house there. Looks like it might be worth a few bob. I think there's a cafe here, so I'm going to seek that out and see if I can get a coffee, maybe a little something to eat. And the Oddfellows Arms is open all day, so after that I'll go and sit down in the pub, see if they'll let me in early. It's been a good walk. The bit before the Little Bothy was really quite hard work, particularly in the weather. It was raining and very windy, so I was pleased to have a sit down in the Bothy, I must admit. But other than that, it's been okay, if quite boggy and muddy in places. So we're in Coolbeck, that's St Kentigern's Church, and there's the Watermill Cafe down here, which apparently closes at 5. So Coolbeck looks a lovely little place, very pleasant. Just walked past the Oddfellows Arms, which looks nice. So let's see if the cafe really is open. Well, good morning. It's Saturday the 16th of November, about 8:45, and I've just gone out of Coolbeck. Hello sheep. Coolbeck is a lovely little village. Alright. Church there is beautiful, nice little cafe. I stayed at the Oddfellows Arms, which was great. Really nice accommodation, very friendly, lovely meal, albeit quite expensive, but really worth it, and a lovely couple of pints. I slept moderately well and had a bit of a lie-in and had an absolutely cracking breakfast, really good. And left there at about 8:30 for the 15 or so miles to Carlisle. Apparently there's a landslip about 3 miles down the path, which happened in May. Council haven't done anything about, but the landlord of the Oddfellows Arms was talking to me about it. He said just go straight over it and ignore any messages about footpath closed ahead, like this one. So apparently the detour goes all over the shop. So walking through Parsons Park now, and got Coolbeck on our right, in which the village takes its name. That's looking the way back that we've just come, back to Coolbeck, and this might be our last sight of the hills. Not a bad day actually. Got quite a lot of blue sky, sun's out. It's a bit nippy, and apparently it's going to get a lot colder this afternoon, tomorrow. Might be some snow tomorrow, so I just hope I can get my train home before any snow starts. And then Monday and Tuesday apparently going to be quite bad up here. Just come through Parsons Park, and we're walking round the small little hill on our left and eventually heading back down to the beck. Quite a crisp morning. Just walked down a small incline to the bottom of the valley, and I think this is the river that we're following most of the way to Carlisle. A bit of a rocky old path here, so I have to watch your footing. Quite muddy, but pretty easy walking. Most of the Cumbria Way has been eminently doable. A couple of tough sections, as you might expect. Quite a few stiff climbs, but perfectly all right. I haven't needed my hiking poles too many times, but when I have needed them, they've been an absolute godsend. Yesterday, crossing Armormail Gill, I'm not sure, well, it would have been much more difficult to do it without them, and it certainly gave me confidence. And also picking my way up the rocky path to the Lingay hut, and it certainly makes it easier on the knees coming down from Stake Pass and things like that. So I definitely recommend bringing walking poles with you if you're going to do the Cumbria Way. Well, I'm just between Oakbank Hill and Starnmire on the OS map, and this is obviously the landslip. Nothing particularly drastic, although quite muddy. I can sort of see why they've signposted people away from this, particularly if it's a bridle way. But yep, touch wood, nothing too bad, and we're across. And this is the River Caldew that takes us north to Carlisle. Rather a picturesque little village, apart from the traffic cones, of course. And I think we're just going up there where the car isn't turning left. So this is Sebergham Church, which has its roots in the 12th century, but was substantially restored in the 18th century. Let's see if it's open. And see what it's like inside. Oh, it's a beautiful building. Lovely red walls. Beautiful church. I'm not going in because my boots are a bit muddy. I don't really want to take them off. What a lovely little church. How beautiful. Tea and coffee making facilities in the vestry. Really nice. And there were tea and coffee making facilities with powdered milk in the vestry. So clearly anyone can just go in and make themselves a cup of tea or something like that and leave a little contribution. I was just trying to get through the gate, which was a bit tight to get through. And a farmer drove up in his 4x4, who I passed on the way down. And he stopped, a lovely chap. Was having a nice conversation. He runs two farms, one near Carlisle and one down here. And he said he got married in the church that I just popped into, which was lovely. So attractive scenery, and just coming up to Bell Bridge now. Well, it's just past midday. Done 9.5 miles, so made good progress today. It's been pleasant walking. Not quite as remarkable as the last couple of days, but very nice. Just going through the pretty little village of Buckerbank. About a kilometre away from Dalton now. Just coming into Dalton, crossing the River Caldew again, which has got substantially larger. This is the little monument to 2000 to Dalton and Dalton Centre. There's a co-op there, and I'm hoping there'll be a little coffee shop. First sighting of the outskirts of Carlisle. Been walking for a couple of miles on this cycle path, which is easy to follow but quite hard on the feet. My OS maps tell me I've got about 2 miles left. Must admit, I'm feeling quite tired and looking forward to getting to the end, but it has been a cracking walk. I've really enjoyed it. Definitely doable in 5 days without taxing yourself too much. And it fits in really nicely with the sort of stops if you're going to B&B it. So, some thoughts on the Cumbria Way. First of all, if you're thinking about doing it, definitely do it. It's worth doing. Ulverston, it's a lovely little town. Probably worth spending a bit of time in, which is nice. Day one, perfectly pleasant. Through arable fields, watch out for the cows. Lake District starts really when you get to Beacon Tarn, which is really nice. Coniston, very pleasant, again worth a wander round. Coniston Water's lovely and a nice walk along there, nothing particularly hard. So day two, Coniston to Great Langdale, gets even better. Some fantastic scenery. You really get the feel that you're in the lakes, particularly if the sun's shining like it was for me. But that was a good day. Great Langdale, bunkhouse is a good place to stay, or you can stay in the new or the old Dungeon Gill. Day three was for me the highlight of the whole trip. Up Stake Pass and down again, and I think it's the Langstaff Valley. Brilliant scenery. You get a great feeling of isolation there. Just really lovely. Sums up what the lakes are all about. So I very much enjoyed that. Day four from Keswick to Coolbeck. Keswick's a nice place, very busy, but definitely worth a wander around. Again, good scenery. Some surprisingly tough little bits alongside the becks, and as you climb up past Skiddaw, be rather nice to stay in Skiddaw House, but it's only during the season and definitely have to book. Do pop into the Lingay Hut. That was really rather nice, and certainly if I was doing it again, I'd consider staying overnight there. It works nice as a little bothy. So that was good. And then last day, Coolbeck to Carlisle. Perfectly all right. And you can see it's behind me. The river has got quite big, and there's a heron there. Let me just see if I can give you a picture. You could quite easily cut out the bit from Dalston to Carlisle. It's perfectly pleasant on a nice day. A little bit of a trudge along the cycle path. The Sister-Owned guidebook says to go down by the river, but it was really muddy, so I decided not to do that. But it's worth walking that if you're a completist. Other thoughts, I wore boots. which were really good, particularly in November. I wouldn't have wanted to be doing it in trail shoes, and I don't really get on with trail shoes for walking. Definitely bring your hiking poles. So that's the Cumbria Way, getting close to the end. So Carlisle Castle, and just about to turn right, and then I think it's about 100 metres and it's the end of the walk. So just finished, just been into the tourist centre to sign the book, and the official end is here. There we go. Whoops. That's the end of the Cumbria Way. Fantastic 5 days.